Welcome to Wine Workshops. My name is Linda Gaines. Today we're going to talk about white wines. In general, we can divide white grape varietals into two buckets: aromatic grapes and non-aromatic grapes. Let's start with the aromatic grapes first. When you smell a wine made from an aromatic grape, it's typically going to have a very intense aroma. Exactly what you smell will depend on the varietal, but in general, it's going to be a very strong, fruity smell. Examples of aromatic grapes are Rieslings and Sauvignon Blancs. When a winemaker goes to make wine from an aromatic grape, they tend to want to not mess with the wine too much. They want to have a nice wine that reflects what those grapes are offering, those strong aromas and flavors. So they won't go through a lot of extra winemaking approaches to keep it true to those grapes. If they do age the wine in oak barrels, they would tend to use an old oak barrel, which wouldn't impart additional flavors and aromas. And by having aging in oak, it might give the wine some more body. But these wines tend to be really fruity and simple in a lot of ways. Non-aromatic grapes, on the other hand, the winemaker has a lot more leeway and a lot more flexibility with how they make the wine because they are less aromatic. So they have a bigger palate to play with. Examples of non-aromatic grapes include Pinot Grigio and Chardonnay. And there's a lot of other winemaking processes that a winemaker could use to make wines from those grapes. There's malolactic fermentation. There's they call it lees stirring, so having the wine sit on the dead yeast after the fermentation has happened. This will allow notes of bread and toast to come through. Malolactic fermentation will give flavors and aromas of butter, cream, and cheese, typically. And so you can get wines that have all of these extra aromas and flavors in them that you typically get with these non-aromatic grapes. The thing to remember is that there isn't one thing that's a Chardonnay or one thing that's a Riesling. Rieslings and Chardonnays can be lots of different things. So you may say, I don't like Chardonnay, but you can have an oak Chardonnay, an unoaked Chardonnay, or a Chardonnay that's gone through malolactic fermentation and has that buttery flavor to it, and Chardonnays that are much more simple and fruity. So keep that in mind as you are experimenting with, what you like and what you don't like. If you have a chance to take one of our in-person workshops, we go into a lot more detail on the different types of white grape varietals and wines and compare regions and things like that. But if you are on your own and you want to do this yourself, I think that's a great idea. You can go to wine-workshops.com to the resources section, and there's a document in there on aromatic versus non-aromatic white grape varietals. And so get a copy of that and then start experimenting. You might start with a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand and then compare that to a Chardonnay from California. You'll find that those wines are very different. And then I would recommend getting a Sauvignon Blanc from another region, maybe somewhere in France, like the Loire Valley, and then getting a Chardonnay, maybe getting an unoaked Chardonnay from South Africa. And again, compare and contrast. The key thing is that everybody's preferences are different and everybody is on a different place in their wine journey. So it's important to open your horizons and experiment and have fun with it. So thank you for joining me today, and we hope to see you in a future wine workshop.